Hey guys, my name is Nogan and welcome to my C++ series. So in today's video guys, we are going to be focusing on the private keyword in C++. We're going to speak about like what is a private keyword as a means of information hiding in C++ and also its use case in C++. We'll also look at like how eventually is the difference between private and also public because in the previous video, we focused on the public keyword in C++ in a classical and how it's been defined and stuff. But the private is a much more defined approach because it's a means of a specifier. Because here's some functionalities about how you can do a few things. But now, as you can see in the main function here, also the main function will declare class. I'm going to call it student. Now, this class student is going to take a few members or variable. Make them the private keyword private keyword. Let me first include a header file called string hash include string. Awesome. Now here I'm gonna just say string name string surname. Private again. I'm gonna have now int here stud number int stud for student age. Awesome. I'll have two public members methods void. The first one is get student info. In the final thing this here, I'm gonna say cout int into your awesome. Cout again. So what's happening here? We're just gonna get those information of the student. I'm gonna say cout again. Now cout. I'm gonna say student name name you can also cout again so name again scene. So when I get input of the student's surname again. Cout again. Now here, I'm going to focus on the student's number. Now I'm going to say in here stud num. Awesome. Now cout again. Now here, I'm going to focus on the student student's age again now. Student age. Awesome. Scene. Awesome. So we've a public member now, public method called void get student info. Now let's get another one here for eventually displaying. But before we do that now, let's test first to see how the public eventually gives us an attributes of like and the hiding information eventually that'll be defined in the class code eventually. Something is off here, but let's just check what's happening here because something could be off in this method. But now in terms of like the understanding, let's look at the logic of course. Now let's go to the main function first here. So something's off about this void function guys here, but we'll come and analyze it eventually in time. Now let's define now here in a method in a main function here a object of type student. So I'm gonna say student again. I'm gonna say now current student So what's happening out here? The student class becomes now a new user-defined data type. Now the current student here is now the object of that student class. Now here when you say current again to get all those functionalities that are in there. But if I use a dot operator now, something's interesting. Only get student information method is being displayed outside as a means of trying to get access to it eventually. It's been specified based on this on a specifier, which means as the public. So only the get function is being given access for us to get outside the main function, outside the class scope, which means what's happening is that the private keyword eventually now hides all the private members or methods being defined in the class scope, not to be accessed now outside of this class scope here. It can only be accessed now or used inside the class scope by any member or any function by definition that's been defined in there, but it's this public. So we're using now this public keyword here to make sure that this void function is now a public member to be accessed now outside of this class scope in the main function here that's been defined as a means of an argument based on the current student as an object here. So what's happening now basically is that this void get student information gives us now the ability to say now we want to use this private members but only in a form of a function that's been defined here. So if you run a program here on local debugger here, awesome, and let's just check something else here. Ronnie, witness name is gonna be Ronnie. He's Serena B. Williams. Interesting. So something is conflicting here, guys. Here, awesome. Let's look at something that is something can happen where when you're writing a program, you sometimes can make some logical errors. Based on this function here, look at this function properly. In the line from line 19 to line 21, something's off. If you look at the line 19 here, basically we're saying here is that we want to display this message and also want to input the student here, but now we're also trying to output it here before in the same line of code. It's interesting. This happens sometimes where you forgot that now this function of get student information only gets a name. It takes input. It doesn't display anything for now. But now here we're trying to display something by saying, no, okay, display the student surname. But before there wasn't any input there. So what we're going to do right now here to make it much more understandable based on the design of the program, in the same class scope here, you declare another function. It's going to be void display. Now this display function by definition takes now the output of those. Let's see out. Let's make it much more nicer. It's going to be a student. Which is student information. Vision system. Awesome. Now here we're going to see out this information. Be name. Okay. I'm going to highlight this, copy it, paste a few more times here. Okay. Change this to surname. Awesome. This will be student number. Page. Awesome. Now let's go back to our get student information function and just clean this up, because now it's very important, guys, when you're coding any method function to be very, very logical about how you design the program, because sometimes this can happen where you make logical error or your code is not inconsistent because now what you're doing doesn't correspond to the functions functionality. Because remember, we want only to get now the student's information from this get student information function here, and want to use this one to display the student information after being inputted. So that's a very key thing about the basic fundamentals of that. So if we come back to this current student object here in main function. Let's say current again. Want to extend the second method. If you click on the dot operator, display. Now the display function here by its definition will eventually display all the inputs from the get student information function here. So if we run our program here, awesome. Let's say again Ronnie Williams, awesome. Let's say 124012 again, student name, number, and also let's say 20 years old. Awesome. As you can see, we have a much more defined specification about what is happening. We have the first, based on the first function here, the student enter student information displays this, and also student information system now. Let's say the program displays eventually this that is key here. So as you can see now, based on our design schematic here of our program now, it's much more fluently because it's consistent about how it's been designed and stuff. And also, let's say for example again here the main function here, you want to add a new student. What you can do, just say the student class name again. It's a new student. Now new student eventually can also use all those function you are saying dot it again. Let's say this new student when I get its information, and also afterwards display this information also. As you can see, we can have multiple class objects here of the same class scope as you can see here. But now the good thing about this private keyword, as I mentioned guys, it just tries to hide information as a means of security. Let's say for example you want to hide the personal information of a student now as a means of not only it can be accessed by the means of a function. So you're gonna hide this in terms of like a private, using the private keyword now to hide information a business specifier to allow only the functions that are in the class group to get those private members can be used as a means of now output or input, as you can see in the two functions here. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, and also if you have any questions, comment down below. Thanks.